welcome to Retrotainment. We're here again for the second episode this week with my co-host, capital C, capital O, Greg. How you doing, buddy?
What's happening, homie?
Not too bad, not too bad. And joined for the second part of this, well, I was going to say two parts, but there's quite a few more parts, but the first two are the real two. So the second part of the real two, we have, what should we introduce them from? I suppose we'll introduce them as the other half from On The Slab. Like, there's a couple of other ones, but I don't know. I'm not listing them all off. I don't have a list like Jericho to read out, so I'm just going to have to go with that one. The other half of
1001 podcasts.
1004. Ian Dynamo Kelly, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Glad to good. My return, long-awaited return.
Long-awaited.
I don't know who was waiting on it, but
I'm sure somebody was.
I'm sure somebody was. Yeah.
Yeah. So, have you on now for the second part of this? Earlier, we had Carl on to do Terminator 1 because he prefers that over Terminator 2. Can't say I fault him either. Can't say I fault anyone who prefers Terminator 2 over Terminator 1 either. You know, two real classics.
Horses for courses, isn't it?
Yeah, a double header this week because of the 30th anniversary of this film being released. In the States anyway. We didn't get it until a couple of months later. We got it on the 15th of August 91, whereas they got it on the 3rd of July 91. So we figured you can't do Terminator 2 if you haven't done Terminator 1, so we'll do them both today.
I'm old enough to remember it like yesterday.
I'm a bit too young to remember I was alive, but I have no real memory of it.
8 months old?
It's a couple of a year and a bit.
I was 8 months old.
You're a baby, Greg. As always, we take a quick look just at the ratings. So 93% by 82 critics on Rotten Tomatoes. Not a bad rating. And then 94% by the audience, which is slightly higher audience score than Terminator 1, but slightly lower critic score.
This is kind of widely regarded as probably one of the best sci-fi movies ever made. I can kind of understand the audience love for it.
Yeah, it was kind of a bit easier, which isn't always the case with a sequel, but this time they kind of knew what they wanted to do, whereas with the original Terminator, they had to lay out what they wanted to do, whereas here they already had a kind of a plot line that they could run off of, and they did it really well. One of the best sequels, I'd say, ever made. Probably
the best.
Yeah, there's an argument to be made for the best. I think as well, that was a good point that you made there, Ted. I think there was obviously a much bigger budget for this film, so there was a much bigger. It was more Hollywood, you know what I mean, in terms of the action scenes and the stunt scenes and stuff like that. So I think the first one, obviously, which you have covered, was a bit darker. I think we'd all agree with that. It was a bit more.
It was more on the horror side.
It had more of a horror element, yeah.
Yeah, this was definitely more of an action sci-fi, whereas the other one was kind of a horror sci-fi, in a way.
This is kind of what really put Stallone like into the mega.
Schwarzenegger.
Sorry, Stallone.
Stallone on the head. He's thinking of Rocky here.
Stallone on the brain. Oh no. Could have been a contender.
This one was about 5 times the box office of the first one, but that just, I think, speaks to how good the first one was, that everyone was so invested in going to see this second one. 520.9 million as a box office in 1991.
You know, it took them 2 days to beat the total box office of Terminator 1.
Yeah, Terminator 1 had 78 million.
Yeah.
But I suppose you didn't have something to go off again. It's that sort of thing, isn't it?
That was 80. What was Terminator 184? Was it, or
87? No.
No, I think 84 is correct, isn't it?
Yeah, it was 84. So it would have been kind of like that movie had obviously laid the groundwork if it was that early and built up the anticipation for this movie as well. So you can imagine, and I remember the marketing, and I'm sure there's people listening to this show that know where I'm coming from. I remember the marketing; it was crazy because my mom and my auntie both worked in the Savoy Cinema in town, which was the place to go. Do you know what I mean for any kind of big movies?
Free stuff.
Oh man, it was amazing! Big huge bags of popcorn. I mean, like sacks of popcorn to bring home.
Black bags full. dead.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exactly what it was, man.
Sick, getting sick by the end of it.
Oh, absolutely. You know, the old, what was the old ice creams? Do you know the ones that, I think they still sell them? It was
Maxi
like,
Twist. The little Maxi Twist.
That's the one. That's the one.
Yeah.
Before any of this Ben and Jerry stuff came around, we had the Maxi Twist. And
They do still sell them.
And you'd have a preferred side. I was always like the strawberry side, and like trying.
I was a green guy.
I was
a green guy. Yeah.
It's no, but I remember the marketing behind that movie was absolutely incredible because even the toys actually start coming out quick. I had the old original toys, like
they ran a comic off this as well, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. But the toys they actually start releasing early, Greg, I believe, because I remember going down to Harris's back in Bray Main Street, which was kind of the only toy shop in town.
Only one we really had, yeah.
Fucking amazing toy shop, by the way. But yeah, like the marketing behind this, like as I said, even in the cinema, you would see like the big cutouts of the Terminator, you know, of Arnie, and it was just, you know, the anticipation. I'd imagine if you went back in time now as an adult, looking at that. Huge.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, yeah, okay, the first one made less than 100 million as a box office, but then the second one makes 520. That tells you something about how successful the first one was. That everyone.
Oh yeah, the groundwork was laid. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This one starts very similar to the first in that they bring us to LA 2029. Not too far from now, but we're nearly there now, and I hope it's not as much of a desolate wasteland. But they tell us
although it's on the way.
It seems to be 3 billion humans killed. They tell us the story again. You know, 3 billion humans killed after something went off on the 29th of August 97, which we have passed by, so we know that doesn't happen anyway. And that the Terminators are waging an all-out war against what's left of the humankind. And then we get told, you know, they sent one back in the past to kill Sarah Connor, and now they've sent another one back to kill John Connor when he's a young boy. So that just sets out, they tell you, you know, something happened before, which is obviously Terminator 1, and then they give you the premise of this one, so that someone's gone back and they're going to kill John Connor as a young lad. And that's when we see Arnie return, Starkers again. They loved this scene, Arnie in the kneeling pose, complete Starkers. They're mad for this.
Yes, no balls shot, which is good.
Yeah.
If there wasn't a bodybuilding pose in this, it wouldn't be an Arnie movie.
Exactly. Yeah. But he lands again, and this time he so obviously the first one he comes up against those, like, you know, the little punks. This time he walks into the bar of all the bikers, and the weird thing is nobody really questions.
Rough looking bar.
It's a rough looking bar, but nobody questions this big guy walking in completely Starkers. They're all just kind of like, yeah, okay, that seems kind of normal. Which
it's LA. What do you expect?
It's a bit worrying, you know. But he comes in, and that's when we get the classic line of, "I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle."
Need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle. I used to say that to people I'm working on. They'd be like, "What?"
Yeah.
Just
what do you mean? What? How do you know? How do you not notice? What do you mean?
It's like, you kidding me, man? You kidding me?
Once they say what, then you go, well, we can't be friends now. Yeah. It's over.
You're fired.
You know, the scene that stood out to me, because I watched that at the time, the scene that really stood out to me and kind of was like, oh shit, what is this guy made of, was when the guy stubbed the cigar in his chest.
Oh, he just doesn't even flinch.
But
oh man,
he lays absolute carnage in here, and they eventually decide, you know, maybe it is best to just give him our clothes, our boots, and our motorcycle.
Yeah.
I like this though, where he comes out and the barman comes out behind him.
Yeah, you can't let him take his bike.
He just breaks the gun.
No, he doesn't. Well, he doesn't break the gun. He takes the gun off him and then takes his sunglasses. So he leaves with both the sunglasses on.
Oh, the gun
and then we see the second guy come back, which, like, obviously if you haven't seen the film before, you're thinking, well, Arnie's the Terminator because he was the Terminator in Terminator 1.
Sure.
So
yeah.
This other guy that comes back, you're like, right, well, this is the lad that's going to try and protect John Connors this time. And similar enough, he comes back and has a run-in with the police pretty much straight away, the same as Reese does in the first one.
Yeah.
But this time he kills the police officer. Well, we don't know if he kills him, but, you know, he does something.
100% kills him.
We don't see him kill him, but he definitely leaves him and takes his clothes and his car, and he starts kind of driving around. He's he's off to try and find John Connors, and you're thinking, right, well, this is the good guy. This is the guy that's going to, look after
he was in the
John.
blue and everything, you know what I mean? He's wearing a badge.
Yeah, good guy,
Robert Patrick was brilliant in this.
Brilliant.
Amazing, man. Very
do you know who was originally meant to be cast as T-1000?
No.
Billy Idol.
Wow.
How do you go from Billy Idol to Robert Patrick?
That's a
Do you know what? Billy Idol would have looked badass back then, though, as him as well. Do you know?
The movie would have been terrible, I'd say, though, with him in it.
I think he would have been too badass, though, that you wouldn't believe he was the good guy at the start.
Yeah, because you see silent acting, like, I mean, that's the great thing, as you said there, Greg, like the silent acting from him in this is actually incredible. Do you know what I mean? Like every motion, there's no wasted motion and everything makes sense. You know what I mean? And just when he does have dialogue in it as well, he's so kind of straight-laced, he looks like a robot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just phenomenal in this. Like
phenomenal, yeah. Very underrated actor, I think. He was in a lot of B movies that myself and Greg would probably know, and he was also in the Marine, John Cena as well.
Yeah, well, see, he just never hit into that next level. Like he seemed happy to stay where he kind of was, relatively well known, but not the big name ever.
Always reminds me of Eric Roberts, man. Eric Roberts was a phenomenal actor.
Great actor,
people might remember him from Best of the Best and
that's such a good movie.
Village. Yeah, and Pope of Greenwich Village, obviously with Mickey Rourke. Really good actor. For some reason, I think he had Hollywood issues, probably like Mickey Rourke. Anyone hanging around Mickey Rourke probably was guilty by association.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think
overshadowed. Yeah,
I think some people kind of maybe just didn't want to make it to that next level. They were happy with, I'm making my money, I'm making a living, and I don't want that superstardom where everything I do is scrutinized and,
Probably saw what was going on with the likes of probably saw what was going on with the likes of the Weinsteins and Cosbys of this world as well, and said, I think I'll take the low key road.
Yeah.
Please.
Well, like Robert Englund is probably the biggest one of them. He could have went on to do anything, and he just kept where he wanted to be.
Yeah. Smart man,
Flies under the radar, but still makes bank.
Yeah.
And made big bank, yeah.
And he's well known in what he wanted to be known in, so perfect for him, We kind of jump forward a little bit here into we get to see our unlikely hero of the last one, Sarah Connor, and she's in the mental institution, the psych ward, and we get to see a video of her where she's completely freaking out, and she's telling them this is how the world ends, and they're just like, this one is crazy. Now it's the same doctor that we see in the police station in the first one, Dr. Silberman. And he's in the first one, he's kind of like, no, that other guy, that Reese lad is crazy. But like, he was there when that police station got torn up by a Terminator. So
I know. Yeah.
He's clearly something wrong with him, because he just refuses to believe it. I suppose maybe he don't want to believe that there's someone that's come back and is that powerful, sort of thing. I suppose
he's
taking some of those meds that he's offering.
Yeah, but we see her working out, and she's a very different character from the one that we see in Terminator 1. Terminator 1, she's kind of the sweet, girl next door. Yeah. This time she's rough. Like the hair is like, she had it like all done up and stuff in the first one. Now it's just like straight down. I don't have time for that.
It reminds me of? It's like going from Miss Elizabeth to Sensational Sherry. That's the best likeness for any wrestling.
It's very for any wrestling fans, it's very similar to like this prim and proper person to this like gritty, dirty like fighter.
So apparently her and Robert Patrick done an 8-week course with the Marines to get in shape for this.
Oh, you can
like
see
her body type went from what the average say to absolutely shredded.
Yeah. You can see it in her back,
doing the pull-ups.
Back
and her shoulders. Oh my god, man!
She's a unit here, not to be messed with.
She's kind of reminds you of Ripley from Alien.
Yeah.
Lads, when I was too young, I don't know whether this was going to come up in the show, but obviously one of the best fucking songs for a movie ever. Obviously, You Could Be Mine with Guns N' Roses. Do you remember the video?
Yeah.
Like, I used to think Axl Rose was her because they're both ginger. Legit, as a kid, I was like, oh, so she sings as well. Like, this chick is awesome.
The only thing is Axl Rose is a bit on the skinnier side, isn't he?
Yeah. But it's
He's a bit of a unit.
because you could forgive a 7-year-old though for kind of.
Oh yeah.
That,
yeah, definitely. But yeah, we see her, and we hear him saying, like, oh, she's in permanent lockdown because like he's telling all these like young students where like she believes the world's ending and all this, and like she's completely insane.
Yeah.
And then we see him interview her, and she's like, I don't believe in the Terminator. It wasn't real. And she's real calm.
Yeah.
And he's shown her the video of her being crazy, and she's just like, no, I don't believe that. Like, what? The company just covered it all up. No, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. Like, can I ring my son now? You said if after 6 months I was good, I'd be able to go to like a lesser ward and ring my son. And your man's just like, yeah, I'm not buying it. Like, you're smart. You're playing me here.
You're fucking working me.
And she was working him.
Yeah,
because she snaps all over him then.
It was some serious good anger acting though, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, she's fantastic.
Very believable.
Yeah. But while all that's happening, we see that it's hard to do this. The Arnie Terminator is going around looking for John Connor, who has left his foster parents' house and robbed a ATM machine.
He's a dickhead.
Which he tells us, my mum taught me how to do this.
It was pretty cool though.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty cool. He's a dick, but like,
how many
cool.
people do you reckon tried to do that?
Loads.
Down at the Star Amusements.
everyone under thrown out. Get out.
That's what's wrong with that ATM down at Bray Dart Station. There's always out of order.
It was me.
Didn't work though.
No.
As Arnie's looking for him, we also have the I always call him the Liquid Terminator. Like, I know he's the T1000, but I always just call him the Liquid Terminator because he's made of that like liquid that he can like melt into stuff. Yeah. So he's then looking for them, and he calls to the foster parents' house, and it's a nice little bit where he asks, "Oh, is John here?" And they're like, "Oh, what's he done?" Which we know he's got a record, and they're like, "Is this to do with the other guy that called earlier?" And he's just like, real straight laced. No. Can I get a picture of him? Like, real straight laced, as you said, Ian. Like, he's real robotic. Can I get a picture
of him, please? Yeah, he's so
real robotic.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But what I like here is this kind of foreshadows a little bit later, where he makes contact with the mother, or the foster mother, as she hands him the picture, because we learned that once he's made contact with someone, that he's now able to morph into them. So it's a very, like, it's not something you'd pick up on, when you're first watching through it. It's only later on that you're like, oh, that's how he was able to morph into her, because he took the picture off her. He had that contact. But we get to the arcade, and the lads are driving. The Guns N' Roses song is when he's driving around on his little moped or motorbike, and he goes to the arcade, and he's got a lot of cash now, so whatever he wants, he'll play. And we see how good he is at all these games. Like, he's completing every single game, because this is what his mother's brought him up to be. A fighter, a leader. His reactions are just so good. And we see the police officer come in, and he's asking around, have you seen this lad? Have you seen? And then
Mullet Man comes over and says,
he goes,
what a mullet.
I love that. I love the police officer asking, nah, never seen him. And then he walks straight over. Yeah, police are here. You better run.
But the thing is there, like, he doesn't even think about it. As soon as he's asked, it's just a straight answer. Now, I know it's acting, but it's believable.
Oh yeah, as teenagers, you're going to cover for your mate and get him out. Especially since like, it's not like they're kind of like, oh, I wonder did we do anything wrong? Like, they know they did something wrong. They just robbed a bank. Like,
well, yeah.
So he goes over and he tells him. What I like here is we see John run out kind of the back way. And this is where we get the great scene of Arnie with the shotgun in the roses.
Yeah, brilliant.
The Guns N' Roses.
Yeah. One of the best scenes ever, and that is such a great little.
The Guns N' Roses. That's what I loved about it. They had the song, and it just foreshadows that little bit of like him carrying that around, and it's such an iconic scene. Him pulling the gun out of the box of roses. Like,
it's in the firewell, isn't it?
Yeah. He's running from the police officer, and then he runs into Arnie, and he recognizes him because he's like, the mother's described it like.
I mean, you.
not hard to describe Arnold Schwarzenegger, is it? You know, like this big.
Yeah, maybe she's not crazy.
Yeah, like look at the size of this lad. This is definitely who she was talking about. So then he has to turn and run from him, and then the police officer's there, and you know, you're thinking, right, here we're gonna get our showdown. Arnie, who's here to kill him, and the guy who's here to protect him, and we see this like fight between the two of them, and you're kind of like, oh, the normal guy who's not the Terminator is holding up pretty strong here. Like, why is he so strong? And then you see him get shot about 40 times, and he just melts through him.
Yeah, this here was a big giant fuck you to the fans from James Cameron, being like, yeah, you made you think this, and then went, nah.
Do you know what I always wondered? How did the clothes also morph back together?
Because I don't think he's actually wearing clothes. See, that's
he's
the one.
Morphed
that's kind
into
of
the
one
person.
of the. Yeah, see, he's morphed into the person, but he also morphs into people later.
I'm glad you've asked
With
that.
their
I'm glad
clothes.
I asked that question because that was the right answer. Because a lot of people used to give out about that, believe it or not. You know, forums
You know,
and stuff.
he takes over.
The same thing.
He takes over the whole image. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an illusion, but yeah.
But yeah, we see the fight scene, and Arnie Terminator runs out, and he takes John Connors, and he's like, John Connors gets out, gets on his little motorbike, and he's driving off. Arnie gets on his bike to chase him, and the police, the police officer, the Liquid Terminator, gets into this big truck to chase him down the road, one of the big rigs, and you're just like, man, that would be scary shit having that following you.
That's
it's brilliant. Going through the streets of LA.
That's where we get the scene that I have here behind me when Arnie finally catches up and gets John Connors on the bike, and he's like, if you want to survive, you better come with me.
Which I've tried to recreate on GTA many times.
Yeah.
Doesn't work quite so well. As soon as you push triangle, you fall.
Yeah, straight on your arse. But this is where Arnie picks him up, and he's like, you're Terminator. And he's like, yes, I was sent back. You sent me back to protect you. This is probably one of the only issues I have with the film is they never explain how future John Connors made friends with a Terminator.
He builds them, does he not?
They never really reference where it comes from. They just kind of there is a Terminator, and he seems to be friends with him, or like, you know, have control of him to send him back to protect his younger self.
I thought it was to do with the chip that they go to get later on. I know, spoiler alert for later on, but
no, because the chip is what's
the chip they.
No, the chip is used to create Skynet overall.
Yeah, but was there not a program in there? That's what they wanted to destroy.
No, they want to destroy it so that they can never create Skynet.
I always thought there was something there.
No, see,
what made me think that.
This is kind of where this is kind of the only real issue is that they never explain why a Terminator is friendly with John Connors in the future when it makes no sense for him to be. It's probably the only real pitfall of this film, I think.
Especially one that had tried to kill his ma.
Yeah.
In the previous one.
Now, like as Ian said, some people do point out that, the clothes, but we've covered that. He morphs the clothes onto himself, so he could wear whatever he wanted.
It's just like a mirror image.
Yeah, it is. But they, this is the scene where it's just a little bit later, they ring the phone, the parents on the little phone booth.
I love this. This is one of my favorite scenes.
You got a quarter.
He just punches it. When he ring the parents, and he's like, they've been compromised. Ask him what the dog's name is.
Yeah, so he asks them, like, the dog's barking, which is what I like, because the dog is out there going crazy, and the dad is like, this dog's out here going crazy, like, what's the story with it? Why is it barking so much? Which we know, the dogs can sniff out the Terminators, so they know when something's not human. And he asks John, what's your dog's name? Max, and then on the phone he's like, is Wolfie okay? And the mum answers, yeah, Wolfie's fine. And he just, your foster parents are dead.
Do you want
real like straight up? Yeah, he's dead.
do you want to know where the name of that dog came from?
Where did it come from?
That's James Cameron's dog. His name.
Oh, is it?
It's his nickname. James Cameron's dog's name at this time was Beowulf.
Okay.
So he put it in as a throw to his dog.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. So we've learned that this is what's happened, and he's like, wait, you have to follow my commands. And
Hop on one foot.
the hop on one foot, and then these like, these big beefy lads come over, and he's about to shoot one of them, and John knocks the gun out of his hand, and he's like, don't kill that. You were going to kill that guy. Of course, I'm a Terminator. What a line, like.
Straight up. Yeah, you're dead. Simple.
Obviously, man. What else did you think I'd do?
Like, what else was I going to do? I'm a Terminator. Yeah, I was going to terminate him. But we learned that, he has control, like John has control over this, and he's like, right, no more killing. And he goes, right, we're going to get my mum out of that place. Now, she's done a good job of getting out herself here now, because the police went to visit her.
She's en route.
The escape scene in this is brilliant.
The police go to visit her, and she's like catatonic. And they're like, this guy has come back. He killed 30 officers before. We know you know him. Where's he from? And she just sits there. And when they all look away, she just takes a little paper clip into her fingers.
Oh, yeah,
Brilliant.
just...
And then she gets she gets locked down in her bed, and that creepy security guard like licking her face and all.
Oh,
man, yeah, that was nice.
Wow, creep, man.
Yeah, creepy bastard.
It doesn't matter what movie you see that in; it doesn't make it any better. Like even in Kill Bill and thing.
It's just so creepy, like. But she frees herself anyway, and while she's freeing herself, the liquid Terminator has kind of showed up, and he's trying to infiltrate to get himself in.
He's just walking in.
Yeah. Well, I like that he melds into the floor.
Yeah.
And then comes up behind the security guard and just kills him, no bother.
Yeah, and then when he's going through the chain link fence, it just
it just meshes in.
Yeah.
Man, the effects for that time were unbelievable.
Yeah, but she steals the keys after knocking out the creepy guy who was licking her face. Which, to be fair, she only hits him like 2 or 3 times. She could have hit him a few more times, like, and I don't think anyone would have been like, "Oh, that's a bit much."
Yeah,
like some creepy dude locking you down and licking your face. He deserved a few more slaps, I'd say.
he getting castrated in there.
Yeah, but she starts to make her escape, and what I like is that while she's making the escape, she obviously, she has the whole thing with Silberman where she puts the poison into his neck, so she like gets through all these doors. But as she's running to get into the lift, is when the Terminator steps out again, the Arnie Terminator, and she has to turn back. Which is exactly what happens with John. He runs into the Terminator and then turns back. And on turning back, comes up against the liquid Terminator. Like,
the look of pure fear in her face is brilliant as well.
Oh, could you imagine? Like, yeah.
When she falls on the floor and she's trying to push herself back, like, it's pure. But, this badass chick fucking baiting lads. And then it's like, oh, shit, I have a limit.
We're fucked.
Well, I can kill them, but I can't kill this guy. I the last time killing this guy nearly killed me. I needed a bloody hydraulic press, and he was cut in half.
Yeah.
But she turns back, and we see the liquid Terminator show back up after Arnie dispatches of all the medical staff, throws them into walls, doesn't kill any of them because he's been told not to kill anyone.
Probably maimed and paralyzed a few.
He's definitely injured a few, but none dead, which was what he was told. No more killing.
Isn't it funny how on that picture, sorry, I just have to say, if you look like a quick glance there, it looks like Arnie has a belly.
It does. The man's never had a belly in his life.
It's like that's definitely never happened.
That is false, lads. Have you seen Junior?
This is very true. I'm with you there, Greg. Yeah. I'm with you there.
But she gets convinced to go with the Arnie Terminator by her son, and the fact that this guy is walking through walls and like getting shot by a shotgun and just keeps on coming. And this is when we see how truly strong he is, because Arnie point blank shoots him with that shotgun at the door, the elevator door, and like blows his head in half.
Oh yeah, to me, it's kind of that to me. There reminded me of The Thing a little bit.
Yeah,
remember where they shoot his face and he just opens up into half of it and then just kind of waddles off.
Yeah,
I have a feeling that was a bit of a throwback to that.
Yeah.
But like in their own way, like not that he was able to split it himself, but that when it got split, it just didn't.
So you know that scene there where she's in the elevator and he shoots him.
Yeah.
She went deaf in her left ear because of that.
They were actually firing black.
Yeah, she forgot to put her earplugs back in.
Oh,
she went deaf in her left ear.
I love these little gems you're bringing up there. Yeah. I like that. Yeah,
nice stuff.
Mad. That's mad.
But we see, they get away from him here again, and they're now in the police car, and they get to it's kind of this abandoned garage, I suppose, is really all it is. It's just this abandoned garage that they found, and Terminator just stands watch at the door the whole night. But we learn that John asks him, he's like, how do you, act like a human? He's like, oh, the more time I spend around humans, the more I pick up, So he starts learning things like high fives and the thumbs up and the colloquials of how to speak and things like that.
That's all you get.
Yeah.
The awkward thumbs up.
Yeah. But they head out and they
in America.
they head off and they meet up with Enrique, who's the gun smuggler. That I
love that fucking place, man. Like when they the big fucking
the vault in the ground.
Yeah, I love that Arnie is the only one that like he just picks it up on his own, whereas that all the rest of them would be like 3 or 4 of them hauling ass like to get it up.
Well, you think there's a lot of sand on top of it as well, like.
Oh yeah, no bother to him. Just pick that up.
An old desert storm blowing that around, you wouldn't be able to find it again.
Yeah. But he, like, they get there and she falls asleep and she has the same dream that she always has, which is the end of the world in August '97, and it just terrifies her. And she looks over and she sees this Terminator with her son, and she's like, this guy is working so well with my son, like, learning high fives, they're fixing the truck, all of this stuff. And she's just like, that's who he's safest with, not me. That's who he's safest with. And she begins to learn from the Terminator, like, okay, so where does Skynet come from? When was it created? Who created it? She starts asking all these questions and he keeps answering them. And she learns that the person who creates Skynet is in the factory where she killed the original Terminator, and that they had covered it up and kept the arm and the microchip. And that it's from that they create, Skynet, which then leads to Terminators being created, which leads to the end of the world. And she decides, well, they were going to kill me to stop John being born. So if I kill him, that'll stop Skynet being created. Good simple
logic.
plan.
There you go.
That's the logic they use. That's the logic I'll use. So off she goes. She's ready. She takes a load of guns, takes everything, and sets off to kill this guy.
Yeah, poor chap trying to have dinner in his house.
The poor lad hasn't done nothing yet. I know he's going to do something.
Yeah, it's like you feel real bad for him, but then at the same time, I didn't. It's kind of like, fuck it. He's an enemy of the state. He's an enemy of these boys. So
not quite at the minute, but yeah, he'd certainly get there.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so she heads off. She shoots up his house and stuff, and eventually she gets into the house and she's shot him once. He's on the ground, and she's ready to kill him execution style. But she bottles it. She just realizes, she's like, I can't just kill this guy. Like, he hasn't done anything. Like, I can't just, like, am I as bad as a Terminator? I'll just go and kill whoever I feel like with no repercussions.
Yes.
Well, obviously not, because she feels
it's like beating someone up for their future actions, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna do.
You thought about that.
You did. You looked at my missus the way I could see it lust in your eyes.
I could see 10 years from now you were thinking.
Yes.
But she goes to the house.
Pervert.
But the two, John and Arnie, show up here now, and they're like, all right, we need to explain what's going on. And they explain to him, like, listen, 10 years from now, you create this, which leads to this. And basically you end up wiping out humanity. And your man's like, you're telling me stuff I haven't done. And they're like, yeah, but it's what you're going to do. So
this whole thing here is one of my favorite scenes, where he's explaining to him and he's like, prove it to him.
Yeah. Prove it to him. But
he just gets the knife and just rips the skin off his arm.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's all sorts of bad.
It was lethal.
What I like here is that they tell him, and as he's sitting there thinking about it, the wife is like, yeah, well, he's obviously not going to do it now, are you? And he's like, what? Oh, yeah, no, I'm not going to build the thing that's going to end the world, no. And you're just like, he actually had to think about that.
He already built it.
He was like, I've built that already. We better destroy this. So they make a plan. Listen, we'll destroy everything here at the house, and then we'll go to the office and we'll destroy what's there. So off they head down to the local offices, and he's like, yeah, these people are just there with me. Just gonna bring them up to show them some stuff in the office.
Shadiest looking fucking crew, like.
There's one little kid, right? First of all, why are you bringing some little kid in at this time of night?
6'2" fucking Austrian in a biker jacket.
Yeah, carrying a gun with him, no bother.
Yeah,
and half an arm.
Yeah, and then this one who just looks like an absolute beast, but also looks a little bit crazy as well. Definitely
wearing a tank top and a pair of green trousers.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna just let you up into the high security area that you work. Yeah, no bother. But they get up there anyway, and they set up the plan. You know, they get the key, they've got the chip, they've got the arm, they're ready to do everything. But all these police show up outside, and it's all the police, not just some of the police, all of the police.
every one of them.
Yeah, and Arnie says, you know, I'll go deal with these, and we see him firing the like smoke grenades sort of into all the police cars.
I love this. All you hear is boom, boom.
Oh, and he has the big machine gun thing as well.
So you know that realm gun that he has, the minigun. That was Jesse Ventura's one from Predator.
Oh. Yes.
Nicked it from.
Yeah, well, it was Jesse Ventura's actual minigun from Predator.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's deadly.
Yeah, but you know, I love the bit that like he destroys all the cars and then he checks through his like robot eyes and he's like 0 casualties and he's like, yeah, job well done. I was told not to kill anyone. Didn't kill anyone.
Did you
Good
notice?
Job, me.
Did you notice that scene is eerily similar to the scene in Die Hard where they're shooting down at all the cops?
Oh yeah.
When they're all at the bottom and poor Al's hiding behind his car for dear life.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff like that in this where I feel you know certain things were a bit of a throwback to other films that had done. That someone enjoyed.
There's one other bit that we missed out there. Do you know when they're at the garage filling up the car?
Yeah.
When you notice the name of the petrol company on the car is Bitumen Petroleum. It's the company that sponsored a dive rig in the Abyss. So he has the two of them linked together.
He does that a lot, doesn't he? Like he links a lot of his stuff together.
Because obviously he directed the Abyss as well.
A lot of great directors do that, don't they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They kind of always have those little just little kind of nuances, little Easter eggs.
Little hidden Easter eggs around the place, yeah.
They also have, you know, the bit where they're in the cop shop for like 10 seconds, the two cops that are sitting there eating donuts.
Yeah.
The two lads are the two boys from the Gremlins 2, the two doctors, the twins.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that at all, actually.
Yeah.
But we see, you know, they're on their way out, and another bit like they're leaving, and he's got this smoke grenade, right? And the police have smoke grenades that they've fired in, and they have to wear the masks and stuff.
Yeah. And
we see the scientist guy is sitting there with this triggered explosive, like it's already triggered, and it's the second he lets go of this, it's going to blow. And he says to the police, he's like, "You guys need to get out of here," and they see it. So all the police scatter. So you know they're not killing anybody here, well, except the police, and the police shot him, so that's the police's fault, you know. Yeah. Terminator hasn't terminated anybody since he was told no more killing.
That scene there where he's dying is brilliant, though.
Yeah.
Where he's saying,
yeah, the ragged breath and like clearly trying to hold on, really trying to hold on, but just eventually, you know.
He was very good in this movie.
For the small bits,
you feel bad for him, you know. Yeah. It's like, fuck, man. Did
everything right.
Family and then.
Yeah, did everything right as well. Gets told, listen, we need to destroy your work, your life's work. We need to destroy because it ended up destroying the world. And he's like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. And then he dies for it. Right. Poor fella.
Committed to the cause.
Yeah, he started it though.
So. He did. It is his. You know, he did start it. But I love when Arnie walks through this smoke, and all the police officers are at the front desk. And he comes out and, you know, he's not allowed to kill anyone. So bang, foot, shoots them all in the leg. And they're all like limping around. And he's just like, yeah, I didn't kill anyone.
Yeah. And then you have the T-1000 and the chopper.
I love that he just tells your man, get out. And your man's like, yeah, that seems like a good idea. I'll just get out this chopper that's up in the air. Just no bother.
Right. Yeah. Good idea. Yeah, definitely a good idea.
Just step out of this, no problems. But they get the big chase scene again, this time with the liquid nitrogen truck.
Oh, this is probably the most famous bit of this movie. This or the chase in the aqueduct.
I think it's definitely the two big chase scenes that are the big.
Yeah, whatever.
But
it's definitely the highest anxiety ones anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so bad. That one with the nitrogen, they're driving along the busy bridge. You're like, oh Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they crash into this this metalworking factory, and the nitrogen goes everywhere, and all the lads in there scatter. They're like, yeah, we don't want to be touched by that. Like, get out of here. Yeah, paid me minimum wage. Good luck. I am gone.
Bye.
See you Monday.
Maybe.
What I like here is that they did a similar thing that they did to the first Terminator, where the truck crashes, and in the first one it's like all this flame and stuff, and we see the Terminator collapse and all the skin burns off him and you think he's dead, and in this one we see him kind of like freeze and like shatter, and you're like, oh, that's it.
But like this is where we get the famous hasta la vista.
Yeah.
Oh baby.
Hasta la vista, baby.
But I thought it was brilliant, obviously, with Nick and Nitrogen being in nearly an instant freeze, and him being able to walk through everything and this, that, and the other, that it was very smart to use that to stop him.
Yes.
Yeah. So they used something smart to stop him, and then he just like shatters into 1,000 pieces. But then because they're in this super hot place, all the pieces that were frozen get heated up so quickly that they meld back into a liquid format.
Pain in the bollocks, isn't it? He should have come back as the Elephant Man.
I know, yeah. Some boyo.
Bits over here. What happened? His leg is attached to his shoulder and everything.
But we see, they go for the, like, this is where the big fight scene is. Again, it's in a factory, similar to the first one, where they're running around. He's chasing them and everything, and he batters Arnie around here, like.
Yeah, he gives him the old slaps.
Yeah, he gives him an old battering here. Now Arnie gives him a few good slaps in himself, but I mean, when
he's
you're
a newer model, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
well, Arnie's just normal metal. You shoot him, it kind of breaks the metal. This lad, it just absorbs, like.
The heel has to control the match,
Yeah, but he absolutely batters him, and then he has Sarah pinned up against a thing, and then changes himself into Sarah to tell. Like, he's like, "Come on, John, like, let's get out of here." And John comes up.
Do you know how they did that? Do you know how they did that?
What?
Do you know how they done that scene?
How?
They got her twin sister to play Sarah, and Linda Hamilton is actually playing the Terminator.
Oh, that's very, very interesting, because that's not how it would be done now. Obviously, now they would just film one part and then film the next part.
That's going to make sense, because Linda Hamilton has the dialogue in it, so I suppose it's easy to just have her there. You know what I mean?
Standing against the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
her identical twin sister.
Yeah.
Jesus, there you go.
That's another good little fact there, Greg.
Pub knowledge, lads. Pub knowledge.
But we see,
Prey comes up in a pub quiz.
Fucking, I'm writing that down.
He convinces John to come back up, and she convinces John to come back up, but it's actually the Terminator. And then the real Sarah Connor comes out, and she starts pumping shots into this lad, and she has him all the way back to the very edge, and you're thinking, she has him now, and then of course that's the last shot, isn't it? No more shots. Of course,
has to be that way.
That's always the way, isn't it? Now, I would have just lobbed the gun at his head or something. Like, I wouldn't just be sitting there trying to reload my gun. There's no more bullets. I'll just keep reloading.
You'd be going in for a double barrel drop kick.
Yeah, just anything. But obviously, it all works out, because Arnie comes up on this conveyor belt, and you see his head come up over the ridge, and I think that's a great scene. Just his head coming up and just boom. Knocks your man in, and the screams out of your man as well, I think, are great. Because obviously, we haven't seen a Terminator.
For all the little bits of dialogue that he had.
Yeah, like, we haven't seen a Terminator feel pain yet. But, like, this lad has been, like, burned alive. And it does seem to affect him, even though he is
probably the only way to take out that one.
Yeah, I think it is. Like, obviously, freezing it would probably work, and then whatever weapons they have in the future must work as well.
Keeping it cold.
Yeah, but this seems to be a pretty solid way.
You'd have to keep them frozen.
Yeah.
But now they've gotten rid of him. All the threats gone, and they just listen. We'll throw the arm in. We'll throw the chip in, and everyone seems happy. That's it. And then Arnie says, "You've got to lower me in. I can't kill myself." And John just doesn't want that to happen. He's like, "No, I need to keep you." And he's like, "There's another chip." And if that stays, everything we did here is gone. And I think this is a great scene because it shows the
human side,
the emotional side of John Connor's, like, and he's become attached to this robot. And Sarah, who, you know, has despised this robot for the last however many years, has kind of grown an attachment to it as well, because you can see she doesn't really want to do it, but she understands that she has to, like.
He has to go, it's as simple as that.
But I love the slow lowering of him in, you know. He slowly lowers in, and then as he's in the bottom of it, the thumb just comes up just to give a thumbs up. It's brilliant. Like, what an ending scene for Arnie.
It had to be something special for him, though, didn't it?
I got quite emotional as a kid watching that as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, you grow attached to him, you know. Like, he seems like a pretty cool guy.
It's like your favorite fucking pet dog. That's what it was like for them. They didn't have a normal life. Do you know what I mean? So this fucking action man basically coming into their life that you can't really keep.
It shows how good he was in the first one, though, that they brought him back in the second, and we're like, instead of just bringing him back and having him be the bad guy, like, he was just too good in the first one.
Yeah,
just make him the good guy.
I wonder, like, I don't obviously remember the promotion to this. I wonder, was he advertised as the good guy in this, or did they keep him shown as
no, definitely not. They definitely just showed him, like, they showed the iconic scene of him with the gun in the roses and battering bartenders and stuff. There's no way they showed him as the good guy.
It's not like you know, it's not like now where, like, you see, like,
everything.
Yeah, you know, like when you go on YouTube now, when you want to see, like, a movie, you know, for example, like, you'll see Blumhouse.
Yeah.
You know, they'll have a movie that you haven't heard about. So you go on Wikipedia and you go, oh, fuck, I'll check that one out. It's a hidden gem or something. It could be.
Yeah.
And you go and you check out the fucking trailer and they've given everything away in 2 minutes. It's crazy. Like, the trailer should be 30 seconds, man. Do you know, just
that's what I love when, you know, when, like, the Super Bowl rolls around and you get the 30-second ads. Yeah. You don't see anything and that's it.
That's exactly it. Like, and it's the same with movies nowadays. Like, they're all like a minute, 30, 2 minutes. And you're like, you're already at the show me, especially with horror movies, because less is more.
Oh, it's desperate, isn't it?
Like, you should know, well, we do, we're kind of seasoned vets when it comes to that. Like, but I think you know within the first 20 seconds whether you're into it or not. And that's realistically what it should be.
The problem is the audience now needs to see it
because most of the audience, no offense to you, are dumbasses, and you can't take your eyes off the goddamn phone for a second there to realize, like, the amount of times I've had to show people a trailer twice. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And did you not just see that? Does this look good to you? Will we watch it?
Yeah.
No.
No, not for me. Love Island. Okay.
I think for the odd film, a 2-minute trailer can work. You know, like where you have to do like an origin story of someone. I think a 2-minute trailer is fine because you can show, you know, like, say for example, Spider-Man. You know, here's a young kid gets bitten by a spider. Everyone knows that that's what's going to happen. You know.
Well, some movies it's okay. Yeah. I mean, like Shutter Island done a really good job at it because you didn't know what that was. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You saw that crazy lady looking behind you, and you're like, "Shit, is this a horror? What is this?"
Yeah. I was so confused going into that. I didn't know what to expect.
And that's what I mean. That's when it lends itself to, you know,
like have you two boys seen the trailer for the new Ghostbusters?
No, the one with the van.
I don't know whether I want to because
so it's the kid from Stranger Things.
Which one?
The main one, the one from Finn from It as well. You know, so he's like, basically he is in some way related to the Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters.
The Murray.
Yeah, he's related to Bill Murray's character. He's like his grandson or something.
Peter Venkman.
Yeah. So they go and they live in this, like, they were living somewhere else. They move to wherever and they go to this old house. And this is what the trailer's kind of showing you. It's like, oh, he's kind of saying like, oh, we used to live here, but then my mom said we were going to move here. And you're kind of like, okay, so they've moved back to where the Ghostbusters were. And then it shows them finding the, he brings in a thing to like show and tell. And the teacher is like, whoa, that's a brilliant replica of the ghost casting machine. And then that's it. That's all they show of that. And then they show them discovering the car. And it shows them driving around in the van. And then you hear this ominous sound. And that's it.
That is a great way to end the show as well, Ted, because there is no person that you're bringing on as a guest, you two boys, other than me for Ghostbusters. Fuck that noise.
Well, I'm telling you, dude, check out the trailer for that one.
No chance in hell that anybody's. I'm getting 1 and 2 on this bitch.
Yeah.
But I'll pencil it in now.
You can pencil it in there, Greg. Pencil it in.
Check out the trailer for that one because it
I will. That's the first thing I'm going to do.
And they don't tell you, you know, this is the bad guy. You don't get to see what's going to be the bad guy. You know, you know it's in some way, like you see the old suits and stuff like that. So you're like, oh, it's Ghostbusters. Whoa.
That's how it should be, right?
That's what I want. I don't want to know what's going to happen. I want to know,
tell me the premise.
Oh, they find the old Ghostbusters van. That's cool. But, you know, that doesn't make or break the film for me.
I'm sorry to ruin this on all the ladies out there and all the, you know, the snowflakes of the world. But, yeah, the Ghostbusters chick film, it never happened. It didn't exist.
No, that didn't happen.
Desperate.
No, that wasn't real. I don't believe that ever happened. That was a nightmare.
Never happened. It was an illusion. It was a T-1000. It wasn't really there.
It was a figment of your imagination of something that's so bogus only the use of non-living objects could ever make it possible.
Exactly.
Man.
And on that, we'll wrap it up here for this episode. Anyway, one of the better sequels, as we said. Now a lot more sequels came on from the back of this. We won't talk about them. Don't mention the war. May cover them at some point, but for the Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, that's where the real money is.
Some might even say that Ghostbusters 2 was even a better sequel as well. So
Aliens.
Yeah, like some of those serious sequels, but this is definitely.
That should be a show that we do down the line. Look at the best sequels of all time. That'd be a pretty interesting
definitely something we could have a look at. But for this week, that's it. Thank you and good luck.